You ever use an AI to help you write something or, create an image, and you get this weird feeling? You look at the final product and think, wait, is this even mine? Well, let's get into it, because a really cool study from the University of Toronto helps explain that exact feeling. And it all goes back to a story about pancake mix from the 1950s.
So this quote, which is from a professional writer in the study, just hits the nail on the head. See, back when instant cake mixes first hit the shelves, people felt like they were cheating. It was too easy. So the companies had a brilliant idea. Just make people add an egg. That one little bit of effort, that was enough. It gave them a sense of ownership, like they actually made it. And that leads us to the big question for this whole thing. When we're working with AI, what's our egg? What's that specific little thing we do that makes us feel like, yep, I made this? That's exactly what these researchers wanted to figure out.
So, how did they do it? Well, they had a hunch that the answer wasn't buried in some complex algorithm. Nope. They figured it was all about how the AI presents itself to us. Its design, its interface. They wondered, could you just give an AI a different disguise and totally change how a writer feels about working with it?
The key idea they were testing is something called an interface metaphor. It's actually a pretty simple concept. We understand new, weird technology by comparing it to stuff we already know, right? A chat window feels like a partner you can talk to. A dashboard full of sliders and buttons, that feels like a precision tool you can control. So the researchers decided to figure out which metaphor felt best for creating something new. After looking at all the AI tools out there, they basically sorted them into three main flavors that you've probably seen. First, you've got the agent-like AI, the one that acts like a chatbot, a little partner you collaborate with. Then there's the tool-like AI, which feels more like a really fancy power tool you operate. And finally, you have the magic-like AI, where you just click a sparkly button and poof, stuff happens. So to test these ideas, they actually built three different systems. Wordsworth was the chatty agent. AutoWrite looked like a pro tool, full of sliders for things like creativity. And Magic Quill was just that simple magic button. Now here's the kicker, and you got to remember this for later. Underneath all those different disguises, the core AI engine was exactly the same in all three. Okay, before we get to the juicy results, we have to kind of define our terms. When we say things like control or ownership, what do we really mean? It's a bit fuzzy, right? So the researchers broke these big, abstract feelings down into something they could actually measure. First up is agency. The easiest way to think about this is having your hands on the wheel. It's that feeling that you are the one calling the shots, that you're driving the creative process forward. You're not just a passenger. Then you have ownership. And this is a little different. This is about feeling like you can put your name on the final piece. It's that deep down sense that the work truly reflects your ideas, your style, your effort. It's the difference between just using a wrench and being the architect. And this is where it gets really, really interesting. They realized control isn't just one thing. It's not an on-off switch. You can feel agency explicitly by pushing buttons and moving sliders, or you can feel it implicitly, where the AI just kind of adapts to what you're already writing. And ownership is the same deal. It can come from the style, from the big ideas, or just from the sheer effort you put in. These little distinctions are the absolute key to understanding what they found. Okay, quick recap. We've got the 3 AI disguises, and we've got the 6 different ways we can feel in control. And remember, the AI behind the curtain is identical in every single case. So, what happened when real writers sat down with these different interfaces? Okay, here it is, the brilliant twist in this whole experiment. You remember those sliders on the tool-like interface? The ones for creativity and style? Get this, they were totally fake. Placebos. They didn't do a single thing. The researchers put them there just to create the illusion of control. And it worked. The disguise literally changed everything. The writers using the tool, they became obsessed with those fake sliders. They wanted to fiddle with the knobs and dials. For them, adding the egg meant having that explicit, fine-grained control. But the writers using the agent? Totally different story. They started focusing on the big picture. They saw themselves as the source of the core ideas, the conceptual owners, and they wanted to have a high-level chat with their AI partner about the story. So, let this sink in, because it's the whole point. The interface, the disguise, it acted like a frame around a picture. It didn't change the AI's behavior at all, but it completely changed what the human valued in the process. It shifted their entire perception of where their own contribution mattered most. This is all fascinating psychology, for sure. But what's the takeaway? Why does this actually matter for those of us using and building these tools? Well, it turns out these findings give us a really powerful blueprint for making better creative AI in the future. Basically, the study gives designers a clear set of rules. If you want your user to think big, to focus on the concepts, build an agent-like interface that encourages that kind of collaboration. But if you want them to feel like a master craftsperson, honing every little detail, then give them a tool-like interface. It gives them that satisfying feeling of precise control. It's all about matching the design to the creative mindset you want to support. And obviously, this goes way beyond just writing stories. We're talking about generating images, composing music, designing buildings, pretty much any creative act where a human and an AI are going to be working side by side. This gives us a roadmap for building tools that don't just work well, but feel right. And that brings it all back to you. The next time you sit down with an AI, think about this. What kind of partner are you actually looking for? Do you want a precision tool you can command, a collaborator you can brainstorm with, or maybe just a magical muse that gives you a spark? The answer is going to shape not only what you end up creating, but how you feel about having created it.